Bonjour à tous. Today I want to talk to you about the 6 reasons why I think anyone learning a foreign language needs a language tutor. And by language tutor, I don't mean someone like me teaching you bits and pieces on YouTube, but someone who would be working with you one-on-one towards your goals. If after watching this video you feel working with a tutor would be the right thing for you to do, then I recommend you check out italki. On italki you'll find many native teachers giving one-to-one lessons at reasonable prices. If you're interested, click on the link in the description. Using this link will also give you a discount on your second lesson with them. So why do I think anyone learning a foreign language needs a language tutor? Well, the number one reason I think you need a language tutor is because if you don't have one, you simply won't know what you don't know. In other words, if you're learning completely on your own, you're very likely to end up with gaps in your knowledge because languages work very differently from each other, so the grammar is often very different, and in fact, there are grammar points that may exist in one language that are completely relevant in another. For example, think about the gender of nouns in French. It doesn't exist in English. Or different cases in German, which I never got the hang of, don't exist in French either. So if I were learning German completely on my own, for example, I may never come across the fact that I need to learn about different cases because this doesn't apply to French at all. So you need a tutor to tell you what you need to learn. And this leads us on to the second reason why you need a tutor. It is because not only you need somebody who is going to tell you what you need to learn, but you also need to know in what order you need to learn it. So a language tutor will provide a logical plan that will work for you and structure. They will know what you need to work on and in what order. They will know when you're ready to move on to the next grammar point or the next subject to be studied. And so you won't be moving on too fast, so much so that you actually forget what you've learned before, but you won't be moving on too slow either, that you're not making progress. The third reason I think you need a language tutor is because you need somebody who will be able to give you feedback. And you need two types of feedback. You need positive feedback, so you need the tutor to be able to point out your strengths and tell you where you're going right, but you also need helpful feedback, that is, a tutor who will be able to tell you what your weaknesses are and so what you still need to improve. Whereas if you're learning on your own, you might not actually know what your strengths and your weaknesses are, right? For example, think of pronunciation. You might think that you're pronouncing something right, when in reality, if you spoke to a native, they might not be able to understand you. So you might need a tutor to help you improve your pronunciation and be understood by natives, or even maybe reduce your accent if that's what you're working towards. The fourth reason why I think anyone learning a foreign language needs a tutor is because if you get stuck with a grammar point, for example, or pronunciation, you need to have someone you can ask for help. So for example, just like we were saying earlier, there may be grammar points that don't exist at all in your native language, and when you come across them in a book, you might be like, I really don't understand the concept of this. What is this about? And you might not be able to get to grips with it. So you need to have somebody you can contact and ask questions to, someone who may be able to explain the concepts to you in words that you can understand better. Because we all know that grammar can be full of jargon and make no sense whatsoever at times and be rather confusing. So a tutor will be able to put those concepts into words that anyone could understand. At least a good tutor could anyway. Number 5, you need someone you can practice with. Now obviously learning is one thing, but really practice makes perfect. So you need somebody you can have a conversation with in your target language, but not just anybody. You need that person to have the time, the patience, and the dedication to help you progress. You need someone who will be willing to speak slow enough that you can actually understand what they're saying. And we all know that regular native speakers in the street, they're not concerned about speed. They're just going to speak to you at their own speed. And if you don't understand it, a lot of the time, tough luck. Unless they are particularly interested in you or they're a very good friend, they're unlikely to take the time to actually speak at your pace and maybe even rephrase things so that you can understand it better. Remember that you're paying the tutor money, so it is in their best interest for you to make progress, because if you know that you're making progress with them, you will give them more money. So when it comes to practice, a tutor is the best qualified person to help you, and it is definitely the best person you can have conversations with in your target language. Remember, the more progress you're making, the more you'll want to work with them and the more money they'll make, which then becomes a win-win situation. So it's definitely in their best interest to do what's best for you. And number 6, you need to be accountable. If you're working with a tutor, you're much more likely to keep studying in between sessions and complete the work that was set out for you to accomplish before you meet your tutor again. And yes, we're talking about homework here, but you're much more likely to keep on target with your goals. Whereas if you're working completely on your own, well, we all know that life has a tendency to get in the way and things come up and we're like, well, this is more urgent than my studying. I can always do the studying part maybe this evening, maybe tomorrow, and then something else comes in the way, and you just are less like, if you don't have anyone to answer to, you're less likely to make studying a priority, and so your learning will not be consistent. If you're learning on your own, basically, your studying sessions are much more likely to be sporadic, because we all have an evil voice on our shoulders sometimes telling us, you can do that later, and then we end up procrastinating and not getting the job done. Whereas if we have somebody who will be like, hang on a minute, did you actually work on this? Then it puts a bit of pressure and you just get the job done. So these were the 6 reasons why I think anyone learning a foreign language needs a language tutor. If you can think of any other reasons why you might need a tutor, then leave them in the comments below. And if you're considering getting a language tutor, don't forget to click on the link in the description and check italki out. That's it for me today. À la prochaine. Bye.